Frost coats the glass of your pod. A sharp hiss cuts through the silence. The lid pops open with a groan of straining metal. You sit up and gasp. The air tastes like stale dust and old copper. It burns your lungs. You rub the cold sleep from your eyes. The room is dark. Only the emergency strips on the floor are glowing. They cast long red shadows across the deck. You look to your left. The other pods are dark. You look to your right. Those pods are empty too. You climb out and your boots hit the metal grate. The sound echoes way too far. It travels down the hall and bounces back. You are alone. The ship feels massive and heavy around you. It breathes with a low and steady thrum. That is the life support system. At least that is still working. You shiver and hug your chest. The flight suit you are wearing is thin. It was not meant for a waking crew. You walk toward the door. It slides open halfway and then jams. You have to squeeze through the gap. The hallway is a tunnel of shadows. You run a hand along the wall. The metal is cold enough to burn. You need to find the bridge. You need to know how long you were asleep. The biomonitor on your wrist is dead. It shows a blank screen. That is not a good sign. You keep moving. The silence is heavy. It presses against your ears. You reach the lift at the end of the hall. The call button is smashed. Wires hang out like guts. You pry the doors open with your fingers. The shaft is empty. The car is stuck on a lower deck. You look up at the ladder. It goes up 10 decks. You sigh. This is going to be a workout. You start to climb. Your muscles are stiff from the freeze. They protest every move. You count the rungs to keep your mind focused. 100, 200. You reach the bridge deck. You pull yourself onto the landing. You are sweating now, despite the cold. You walk onto the bridge. It is a graveyard of tech. Panels flicker with dying light. A coffee cup sits on the main console. Mold grows inside it. It looks like a science experiment gone wrong. You wipe the dust off the captain's chair. You sit down. The leather cracks under your weight. You tap the main interface. Nothing happens. You punch it. A screen flickers to life. Static fills the room. It sounds like rain on a tin roof. Then a voice cuts through. It is the captain. The recording is old. The timestamp is corrupt. The voice sounds tired. He talks about a choice. He talks about leaving the route. He mentions a signal from the dark. You lean in closer. The log skips. He says the crew had to leave. They took the escape shuttles. They left you behind. You were the backup. The failsafe. The one they kept on ice, just in case. You play the next entry. It is just breathing. Then he speaks one last time. He says they are going to the source. He says they found a map. The recording ends with a loud click. You sit back. You are the captain now. You are the crew. You are the janitor. You scan the console for this map. A light blinks on the nav table. You walk over to it. A hologram springs up. It is blue and fuzzy. It shows the galaxy you know. Then it zooms out. It shows a sector that should be empty. But there is a line. A red path cuts through the void. It leads to a cluster of black stars. The nav computer labels it as a hazard zone. The ship is already on course. You have been drifting toward this for decades. You verify the coordinates. They are locked in. You try to change them. The system denies you. It says you need a higher clearance. You are the only one here. That is annoying. You look at the destination again. It pulses with a slow rhythm. It looks like a heartbeat. You feel a pull in your chest. It is not gravity. It is curiosity. The hull groans. A tremor runs through the floor. It nearly knocks you off your feet. You grab the table for support. Red lights spin on the ceiling. An alarm blares. It sounds like a dying bird. You rush back to the main screen. Sensors show a wave hitting the ship. It is not radiation. It is not debris. It is pure energy. The wave passes through the shields. It does not hurt the hull. It hits the engines. The power spikes. The lights flare bright white. Then they dim. The ship is absorbing the energy. That is impossible. This is a cargo hauler. It is not a sponge. You check the readouts. The energy levels are climbing. They go past 100%. They keep going. You look out the main viewport. The stars are stretching. They look like streaks of milk. The ship is speeding up. You are not doing this. The ship is doing it on its own. You try to cut the throttle. The lever is stuck. You pull harder. It snaps off in your hand. Great. Now you have a broken lever and a runaway ship. A sound fills the bridge. It is not from the speakers. It is inside your head. It starts as a hum. It grows into a tone. It feels like a headache with a melody. You cover your ears. It does not help. The sound is clear. It is a voice. It speaks a language you do not know, yet you understand it. It is a greeting. The voice calls you the traveler. It says they have been waiting. They call themselves the Elder Ones. That sounds fancy and a little ominous. They ask why you are alone. You try to think of an answer. You think about the empty pods. The voice shifts. It feels sad now. It says they can help. It says the path is dangerous. They warn you of a shadow. You ask who they are. You shout it at the empty room. The voice laughs. It sounds like wind and dry leaves. They say they are the road signs. They are the lighthouse. The transmission fades. The headache goes away. You rub your temples. That was weird. Even for space travel. You check the sensors again. The energy spike is gone. But the ship is different now. You can feel it. The hum of the life support is deeper. The lights are steady. You bring up the schematics. There is a section of the ship you do not recognize. It is below the main drive. It is not on the blueprints. It is marked as cargo. But it draws more power than the engines. You grab a torch from the emergency kit. You head for the lift. This time you force the doors to the cargo deck. You slide down the cable. You land with a heavy thud. Dust puffs up around your boots. You walk past rows of crates. They are full of spare parts and rations. You reach the back wall. There is no door, but the map says there is a room here. You feel the wall. There is a seam. You find a panel hidden under grime. You pry it open. There is a manual release. You crank it. The wall grinds open. Cold air rushes out. It smells like ozone and storms. You shine your light inside. The room is vast. In the center is a machine. It is a sphere of glass and wire. Inside the sphere is a light. It swirls like a captured star. This is the source of the power. This is what the crew was hiding. It is not just an engine. It is a key. You walk up to it. The hair on your arms stands up. The light pulses. It matches the rhythm of the map. This thing is alive in its own way. The ship lurches. You stumble. The floor tilts. Gravity creates a sick feeling in your gut. You run back to the lift. You climb the cable as fast as you can. You burst onto the bridge. The viewport is full of light. The stars are gone. In front of you is a tear in space. It looks like a wound in the sky. Colors spill out of the tear, violet and gold and blood red. It is beautiful. It is also terrifying. The ship is heading straight for it. The rift is widening. It is pulling you in. You strap yourself into the chair. You grip the armrests. The ship shakes. Bolts pop out of the panels. They ping off the walls. You enter the rift. The world turns inside out. Up is down. Silence is loud. You see flashes of worlds. You see cities made of crystal. You see fleets of burning ships. It lasts for a second. It lasts for an hour. Then you pop out the other side. The stars are back, but they are different. The patterns are wrong. You are in a new sector. The sensors clear. They pick up a signal. It is weak. It is a standard distress ping. It is human. You lock onto the source. It is a planet nearby. It is a ball of gray rock and ice. You steer the ship toward it. The controls are responsive again. The sphere below must be helping. You enter orbit. The radio crackles. A voice asks for identification. You tell them you are the Arkliner. Silence follows. Then a cheer erupts. It is deafening. They thought you were a myth. They are the survivors of the escape shuttles. They crashed here decades ago. They have been waiting for the main ship. You initiate landing sequence. The ship is too big to land. You take a shuttle. The one in Bay 4 is still working. You fly down to the surface. The colony is a cluster of domes. People run out to meet you. They look thin and worn, but they are smiling. They touch your suit like it is holy. You meet their leader. She is old. Her face is a map of wrinkles. She tells you about the struggle. The planet is dying. The air is running out. They need the Arkliner. They need to leave. You nod. You tell them to pack. You have plenty of room. The pods are empty. Alarms blare in your helmet. The ship sensors are screaming. You look up. The sky is turning dark. Shadows blot out the stars. It is a fleet. The ships are jagged and black. They look like knives. The Elder Ones warned you about this. The Covenant. They are the hunters. They followed the rift. You run back to the shuttle. The colonists panic. You tell them to get to the domes. You launch the shuttle. You push the engines to the red line. You dock with the Arkliner. You sprint to the bridge. The fleet is hailing you. The face on the screen is cold. It has too many eyes. It speaks in clicks and hisses. The translator struggles. They want the sphere. They call it the core. They say it belongs to them. They give you 1 minute to surrender. You look at the weapon systems. This is a cargo ship. You have point defense lasers. You have mining charges. That is not enough. You have to be smart. You have to be crazy. You check the star science data. You can jump away. You can leave the colony. You would survive. The core would be safe. Or you can fight. You can use the core as a weapon. But it might destroy the ship. It might kill everyone. You look at the planet below. You see the domes. You made a promise. You open a channel. You tell the alien commander to listen. You tell him about humanity. You tell him we are stubborn. You tell him we do not break. He laughs. He charges his weapons. You divert power from the shields. You send it all to the core. The floor gets hot. The air smells like burning wire. The core begins to sing. The sound vibrates the hull. The alien ships pause. They sense the buildup. You aim the ship at the center of their fleet. You are not going to ram them. You are going to bark. You release a pulse from the core. It is a focused beam of pure force. It hits the lead ship. The shield flares and shatters. The ship crumples like foil. The shockwave hits the others. They spin out of control. The formation breaks. You fire the mining charges. They are just rocks with thrusters. But at this speed, they are missiles. They smash into the enemy engines. The alien commander screams. The screen goes black. The fleet retreats. They jump away into the dark. You did it. You let out a breath. You are shaking. The ship is groaning. The core is unstable. The readouts are all red. The temperature is critical. It is going to melt down. You have to dump it. You have to let it go. It is the only way to save the ship. You run to the cargo override. You type the command. Your hands are sweating. The computer asks for confirmation. You hit yes. The bottom bay opens. The sphere drops out. It falls toward the planet, but it does not hit. It stops in the upper atmosphere. It glows brighter. It releases the rest of its energy. It wraps the planet in a shield. It changes the air. The ice begins to melt. The core was not just an engine. It was a terraforming seed. It gave its life for the world. The ship stabilizes. The heat goes down. You slump in the chair. You watch the planet turn green. It's happening fast. The time distortion is still in effect. The colonists are safe. They have a new home. A real home. You do not need to pick them up. They are better off there. You chart a new course. The Arkliner is lighter now. It feels faster. You look at the star map. The red line is gone. The whole galaxy is open. You have a purpose. You are the guardian. You are the watcher. You record a new log. You speak to the future. You tell them what happened. You tell them about the sacrifice. You tell them that hope is a heavy thing to carry, but it is worth the wait. You save the file. You encrypt it. You send a copy to the planet below. They deserve to know the story. You stand up. You walk to the viewport. The universe is vast. It is cold, but it is also full of light. You are the last passenger, but you are not alone. You have the stars. You have the ship. You have the road ahead. You smile. Computer, you say. Plot a course for the second star to the right. The engines hum. The ship turns. You are ready. Let's see what is out there.